songwriter says, thinking about progressing onward, Christian soul. Onward simply means we're moving forward. Paul puts it this way, forgetting those things that are behind, I press toward the mark. Understanding, David Hawkins says, clarify your own job description. And the only way you can clarify your job description for yourself is to take direction from God himself. If I could just feel like Douglas Park just for one moment. In Douglas Park, there are some Negroes who know everything about everything and don't know nothing. Listen here. On the state level, youth direct, on the state level, Congress, listen, there are some folks who ain't gonna hit a stick at a lick. They know everything. They can tell you what curriculum ought to be used. They can tell you what songs ought to be sang. Listen, President Rock is begging somebody to sing. Now, when meeting over, somebody gonna say they should have sang. Department leaders, if you're gonna be successful, first thing you need to do is to define your own job description. Second thing you need to do is you need to know what qualifications to look for. Just because they've been a part of the organization for as long as the organization been around, don't mean they qualified to lead. Everybody can't lead. And listen here, you got to have the right temperament to be a successful leader. Because there are many times I wanted to pull out my deacons. Y'all know who my deacons are, don't you? Yeah. I sat at church conferences or church business meetings, and some cousins would raise up and get beside themselves, and I called my deacon Smith and Wesson. Y'all come on here. Listen, you got to have the right temperament. And there's no leader you calling a plumber when you need a carpenter. Sunday morning. Just because they've been around a long time, there's a reason why our grandparents and our parents never elected them. They ain't qualified. Why would you have an individual over the Department of Christian Education and that individual hasn't spent any time studying? Director of Christian Education won't go to Bible class. You got the director of Christian Education, don't go to Sunday school. You got the director of Christian Education, won't show up for any Congress classes. What sense do it make them to be the president or the dean of the Congress and they don't have the attitude, the aptitude, or the desire to study? Everybody in the choir ain't no lead singer. There's some vanillas in the choir, and they're lip singing. somebody who is capable and also somebody who is willing. Third thing, he says, secondly, he says, not only do you need to know their qualifications, he lists 3 specific qualifications. Listen what he says to Moses. He said, Moses, the first qualification they ought to have is that they ought to fear God. Fear God. Watch out for folks that don't fear God. If you don't fear God, you know what they think about you. They got to fear God. Secondly, they've got to be individuals of truth. There are some folks in our conventions that are just perpetrators. Walking around like they all of that. Almost like Pharisees. They had the right robe, but didn't have the right mentality. They knew the law, but they wasn't living the law. They passed judgment on everybody else, but couldn't look in the mirror themselves. Listen here, Jethro says to Moses, they've got to be individuals of truth. And if you can't stand telling the truth, listen, some things, that's one of the reasons why, and forgive me, Dr. Tyler, I don't mean to go on a rant, but that's one of the reasons why I don't like to get involved in politics. Because the politician got to say whatever he needs to say to get elected. And there's just some things I can't stand for. There's just some things I can't lend my name to. And so no, just pass me on by. And I'll tell you how I feel about your election day. Got to be individuals of truth. You can't just say anything to appease people. Listen here, everybody ain't gonna like you nowhere. You might as well stand on one foundation. And then listen here, if you don't like it, at least she told the truth. Let that be your epitaph. I didn't like the decisions that they made, but they told the truth. Moses was told by Jethro that they ought to fear God. He was told that they ought to be individuals of truth. And then he was told that they must hate dishonest gain. If I can keep it real with you this evening, there are some folks who seek office just because they honorary. I know you're right. Word has gotten out at the convention to help send me to the convention. I don't know if it happened here. And don't y'all tell them I told this. You edit this out of there. Over in Baptist State, there are some folks that get in line because Baptist State will help send them to the region. Baptist State will help send them to the national. You don't see them until it's check passing out time. And they stand in line talking about where my check. Well, don't worry about your check, where you work at. Let the work you do speak for you. There's some folks who just, they just want to be president because they see it. On President's Night, the president get honored. On President's Night, the president get recognized. On President's Night, they even raise an offering for the president. And I'd like to know what I need to do in order to be president so that on my night, they can raise an offering for me. Beware of those who want to be in position just so that they can get their own dishonest gain. My brothers and my sisters, as I looked at this particular passage of scripture, notice that Jethro did not say, look for those that are highly educated. Please don't get me wrong, education is needed. But listen here, you make your education, not your education make you. There are a whole lot of folks with DDs and PhDs and THDs behind their name. And my grandmother would say they're just as crazy as a Bitsy girl. One of the things I You can get a degree, but it don't make you smart. He says here, don't be concerned about all of those who come in your face talking about I'm Dr. So-and-so. Now, I'm not disrespecting those that have matriculated, those who have paid their dues, those who have served their time. But listen here, everybody with a doctor's degree behind their name ain't really a doctor. One day we were sitting around in the ministers' conference and we were talking about I'm Dr. So-and-so and I'm Dr. So-and-so, and a little old preacher who never attended anybody's school said, well, if there are so many doctors in this room, how come our communities are so sick? Everybody got a doctor's degree, but ain't nobody getting well. So said, pay attention to the education, but don't be moved by the education.